お兄ちゃん、今日は本当にいろいろとありがとう。
Twitch.tv, it's Vtuber Talk. This week, our guest is Phoebe. It's all about to begin on Vtuber Talk. Hello and welcome to Vtuber Talk. I'm Jay, your host, and thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully my sound is good because, hey, even though I've been doing this for now 7 shows, it feels like it hasn't been 7. Sound is always one thing that I'm trying to get right. Hopefully I'm starting to get a bit more consistent at it though. Anyways, once again, thank you all for joining us this evening. VTuber Talk is designed after classic late night talk shows. Everything here is live, casual, and the goal is to simply have fun conversations that will entertain people who are already familiar with the guest while still being accessible to new viewers. That's my fancy way of saying I hope that anyone can tune in and have a good time. Also, all cheers and donations are always split 50-50 with the guests. It's a very important thing to me. The guests come here out of the goodness of their own hearts, and I want to do what I can to support them. I'm told that my volume is low, so let's bump it up a little bit, and maybe I'll bring down the music just a little bit. How does that sound now? Ah, the joys of live production. I have a saying, embrace the scuff, love the scuff, because there will always be scuff. Alrighty, I'm being told that this is good. Awesome. So, for those who are in Japan, the day of this broadcast is February 27th. For those of you who are in the US, it is still the 26th for a little bit longer, but as of now in Japan it is February 27th, meaning that it is Pokemon Day. It is 25 years ago today, as of this broadcast, that Pokemon Green and Blue were released and Pokemania was unleashed onto the world. Now, I myself was about 6 years old when Pokemon first made it to the United States. I was in that prime demographic. I was right there at the beginning, seeing everything, and goodness. As someone who now has a background in marketing, I have to say that the launch of Pokemon in the United States is one of the most impressive media marketing blitzes I have ever seen, and possibly one of the just most intense and successful marketing campaigns of my lifetime. That it was truly everywhere. There was the games, the cards, the show. Pokemon really did take over for a while, and there are so many things. If you look back, even now, you can see, mainstream news media was covering Pokemon. People were worried about, oh, is this promoting violence? Like, what are our kids getting into? I remember so many things, and above all, I remember reading that Pokemon was a fad. That Pokemon was going to be something that was a flash in the pan, here for now, gone in a year or two, and that nobody would ever really remember Pikachu or anything else to do with Pokemon come 5 years from that time. I think it is safe to say that we have proven them wrong. And while the marketing campaign was impressive, as I said, I don't think it is the marketing campaign that made the difference. I think that what made Pokemon last 25 years and grow to be larger now than ever really is just the heart of the series. That while I suppose the main gameplay mechanic is strategy and combat in that sense, Pokemon at its core, in my opinion, is a series that is built around inclusivity, teamwork, individuality, determination, self-improvement, and above all, friendship. The gimmick wasn't fighting, in my opinion, it was the trading, it was the collecting, it was the collaboration, the fact that you couldn't get all 151 by simply buying one game, that you had to trade with someone, you had to be social, you had to connect with others literally and figuratively in order to get the full experience, and that is something that is persisted in Pokemon to this day. And I won't say that I am the most hardcore Pokemon fan out there, but I am certainly a fan, and I would say I'm probably, a bit more than the average person, but I really do feel that what makes Pokemon so special is the connectivity of everything, and the fact that its very nature brings people together to, whether it be to compete, to share, to trade, everything about it, and it really also comes through a lot in the anime and the films, of just togetherness, teamwork, self-improvement, like I said, of just, I want to be the very best like no one ever was. That line will ring in the ears of a generation, and it's really saying, the series is about trying to succeed, and Ash Ketchum doesn't always reach the pinnacle. It was a whole meme that when he won the Alola League in the anime, that was the first time in 20 years that Ash had actually won a Pokemon League. And I remember when I was young seeing him lose in the Indigo Plateau, that it was a bit shocking. It's not often, and especially in American media, that you see a protagonist fail like that. And I think that's just so important, in seeing that, yes, you will try, sometimes you will have stumbles, you won't always necessarily be the very, very best, but you can still be very successful and still make so many friends and memories along the way, and just from the bottom of my heart, I really do love Pokemon, and I'm so happy that it has persisted, because I am not only happy that I was able to grow up with it, but I'm happy that now a whole new generation is able to grow up with it. I've talked Pokemon with many of my guests. That is not deliberate. I'm not inviting people on specifically to talk Pokemon, but I think it's sort of a testament to how widespread it is, and I certainly know that my guest tonight will be talking a bit of Pokemon with me, among many, many other things. So, in fact, I think that I've had quite enough of my own rambling for now. Thank you for listening to my little opening monologue and love letter to Pokemon. So please welcome my guest for this evening, Phoebe. Phoebe, thank you so much for being here this evening. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure. And I really enjoyed listening to your open monologue about Pokemon as well. Because, I don't know, that also, even if we don't end up talking directly about Pokemon, segueing into talking about my community and stuff, that's really what we're about. It's about the connections between people. It's about needing to be social. It's about, not knowing that you're not always going to succeed at first, and still supporting each other along the way. So that was just absolutely beautiful. I was very baby when Pokemon, in fact, Pokemon first came out in Japan before I was even born. So I was even more baby than you at the time when I got to the States. But
Oh,
Yeah, I
well,
think
and
the
speaking of
fact that-
Pokemon, Zone Nolan, thank you for following. You've just triggered our own little Pokemon Easter egg for today, that lovely Poplio gift which you provided for me, Phoebe.
Yes, yes. It is an emote that we enjoy using very, very much in our Beehive Discord. And I was so happy that you liked it, and so happy that you changed it to your alert on stream. That's just beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
And perfect for Pokemon Day.
Yes,
Perfect
that
for
wasn't even
Pokemon
intended,
Day.
but just while we were messaging back and forth just in preparation for today, at one point Phoebe sent me that emote, and I just responded, that emote is incredible. I've seen the little, like, wiggly gift before, but I haven't seen it with Poplio, and when I saw it, I was just like, all right, Phoebe, I have to ask you a very important question now. Do you want me to make my notifications for the show something that is, on brand for you? I can make it be or something, or do I make it this Poplio gif? And you were like, make it Poplio. And I gotta say, it looks even better on stream than I had hoped. It's so good.
Yeah. Now you're starting to make me want to change all of my notifications to that Poplio as well. It's not on brand at all. People are gonna be like, why is this place a beehive? And then there's like Poplio wiggling around everywhere.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry
I
about
don't
it.
care. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It makes you smile, right? So
Yes,
therefore,
exactly.
It's serving the purpose of my stream.
Yes.
Also, speaking of my stream, I see a lot of people from the Beehive in the chat as well. Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome. Thank you so much for coming and supporting both me and VTuber Talk.
Yes, and thank you, Ruina, for following. Depending on how things go, I may or may not call things out as they go, or I might just do a full read-through at the end of the stream. That's probably going to end up what being's a bit more efficient. But, Phoebe, as you said, there are plenty of people from the Beehive here tonight, but just in case anyone here is not familiar with you, and for anyone who might be watching the video on YouTube afterwards, please introduce yourself. Let us know a bit about you, who you are, maybe just a pinch of your lore, what you're best known for, anything that is important to know when meeting Phoebe.
All right. Well, for those of you guys who may not be familiar with me, hello. Nice to meet you, first of all. I'm Phoebe. I am a 2.5D VTuber idol that loves bees, loves singing, and loves my community with all of my heart. 2.5D meaning at the beginning of all of my streams, I perform my own magical girl transformation from my real-life face, wearing the same exact outfit that I'm wearing right now in my 2D form, into my VTuber form. Basically, I did grow up reading lots and lots of books. And as I grew older, I found that a lot of the books that I enjoyed the most were very, very sad. And so a very kind fairy, took sympathy on me and granted me the power to turn 2D so that I could hop into stories, be it books, be it other forms of media like games, and change the endings to happy endings. So that is my superpower. It has nothing to do with bees, but we love bees, and therefore we are the Beehive. My magical girl companion is actually a bee named Penelope. And so we're a little bit related to bees. But there's always something buzzing around in the Beehive, and something very important to our community is acceptance and love and support towards people, every bee of all walks of life, of all buzzes of life. So really the philosophy behind my community is that I want to make it a comfy and mostly wholesome stream where people can feel comfortable enough to be themselves.
Yes. So there are so many just easy bee puns to be made.
Honestly, yes. I mean, you could have just made one right there too. But I'm going to be merciful on chat and not make too many bee puns today. Oh, please don't cry, Nolan. Please don't cry. I love you guys very much. Something that I'm very proud of with my community is how we've really grown to be like a family to one another. That goes for both the viewer streamer relationship and the viewer relationships. Like seeing everybody make friends with each other really has moved me to tears many times. But also, in addition to that, something we do a lot in our streams, in addition to gaming, is we do a lot of singing as well. So to get into the idol part of my title, 2.5D VTuber idol, I do a lot of singing as well. I do a lot of singing, and that's both originals and covers.
Yeah,
And
we
we'll
were
probably
actually
get a little bit
playing
more
one
into
of
that.
your originals right before the show.
Yes.
The song was called Desu, and it's actually part of a larger EP that you've released.
Correct. Do you want to know a little bit about it?
Yes, please.
All right. So, yeah, if you guys were there at the very beginning of the stream, VTuber Talk had a beautiful starting screen overlay, and you probably heard my song Desu, and it is one of several original songs from my debut EP called Moon Garden, that was crowdfunded last year back in February.
Oh, so
So
just
this
about a
was-
year now.
Yeah, just about a year now. And I worked on it a couple months and released it in May of last year. So the 1 year is coming up. I'm gonna probably be celebrating that in some way. But in addition to that, I have a new EP that was kickstarted as well. So both of these were crowdfunded on Kickstarter, but it goes to show how much the Beehive has grown because all the numbers have doubled. Last year, I kickstarted it before I got into streaming, before I got into VTubing at all, and everything was all the numbers were about half. And now I've recently crowdfunded a new EP, and everything was doubled, like double the people, double the amount of funds we were able to raise, and hopefully double the magicalness of the music. I'm working on that. I'm working on
So
that. Right now.
is the campaign already closed, or is it still ongoing?
So this one closed. This one went from December to late January, and with the help of so many of you guys in the Beehive, I was able to more than fund the EP, but also reach all of our stretch goals. So it is done now. It is in the works, and it's slated to release in late April of this year. I'm very excited for it.
Very exciting indeed.
Mm-hmm.
So, could you tell us a bit about your mama and papa, the people who did your model and rigging?
Yes. So, if the art style looks a little bit familiar to you, then you might watch some VTubers like Mint Phantom, Lyrica, maybe Hoshizora Fuyu. I have the same mama as them. I am a KGR child. So yeah, she made some amazing VTubers like Lyrica, like Fleshy, like Mint. And yes, Kyo, someone did say Mint Phantom. Kyo here is one of my mods, and I love him very much. He's also a very big Mint simp. Yes. So I am proud to call myself her sister. So that's my mama. My papa, yes, Kyo has been summoned. My papa is Arya Susanto from ARS Studios, Artemis Studios. And they've rigged a ton of people. I can't even list all of them. I can't even list all of them. I know one of them is like Keiko Cup, who's in a VTuber group called FUWATOPIA with me. But I wouldn't be able to list all of them. There's too many, many. But I do know that Lyrica was also. Lyrica basically has the same mama and papa as me. Mm-hmm.
Ah, twins.
Yeah, basically. But Lyrica is. I strive to be more like Lyrica. One day. Mm.
So you've been a very busy bee. That you had a full slate of streams this week, and you even had one earlier today. I believe it was actually the very first collab of the group FUWATOPIA.
Yes, correct. So basically, right after the stream ended, I started getting ready for this. And, you know, I do keep myself quite busy. FUWATOPIA, though, did not feel like work at all. It was.
That's good. That always means something's gone right.
Exactly, exactly. The moment that work can feel like play is very, very satisfying. And of course, it's still tiring. But it was lovely. It was lovely just we're working together. In FUWATOPIA, we really work together. So, a little bit of context. Those of you guys who were there earlier, thank you so much for coming and supporting me and everybody else in FUWATOPIA. But to let you guys know what it is, basically, FUWATOPIA is a new Twitch stream team. So it's one of those teams that you can see next to a streamer's name, or next to their stream title, typically. And it consists of me, Hoshi Yumekawa, Lily, otherwise known as Lemon Leaf ASMR, Yami, and also Mascot Bun. So we are a 5-person currently stream team consisting of VTubers that strive to create a how do I say it? A very inclusive and welcoming community. Basically, we're a comfy team. We're a comfy team, and we're there to make our streams welcoming for viewers, but also to support each other, to be like a positive support network for one another as VTubers. And yeah, just like you said, we had our first stream together earlier.
And it's very clear that you all are of a very similar mindset, that obviously Fuwa coming from the Japanese sort of onomatopoeia for fluffy, and that all 5 of you just worked off each other really, really well. You all were playing Jackbox, and it was very clear to see that you were all meshing, and just for that being a first collab, it did not feel like a first collab.
Well, that's very reassuring to hear. That's very reassuring to hear. Several of us were a little bit nervous beforehand. Not because, you know, like something that we're really lucky for is that we vibe with each other so much. We really, even though not all of us have known each other for very long, we're very comfortable with one another, which helped because several of us were very nervous before the stream.
Could have fooled me, legitimately.
Thank you very much. That means a lot. I will relay that to the rest of FUWATOPIA, and they will be very happy to hear that. Like, Hoshi is the leader of FUWATOPIA, and he is the prince of the Dream Kingdom. He is a bunny fairy prince, and he is basically he's one of the first VTubers, one of the first EN VTubers that I really started watching regularly, and who I started looking up to a lot in terms of, you know, I really would like to make my stream comfy just like Hoshi's. I want to interact with my viewers as good as Hoshi. You know, I want the general aesthetic of my stream to be as cute as that. And I want to make us feel like a big family, just like I do when I'm in Hoshi's streams. And, you know, at some point, I think I came around to Hoshi's streams enough to where we really started to get to know each other and become friends. And, but like I still, even though we're friends, I still look up to Hoshi very much. And I feel like so Hoshi was the one that invited every single one of us. And so we were all a little bit nervous going to a channel that's 1, partnered, 2, we knew there was going to be a lot more people than we're used to on our own streams.
Yeah, you were running at about 150 viewers from what I saw.
Yeah, that was nuts. Like I think I've only ever had those numbers when I've gotten extremely big raids, or like during my I did a 24-hour birthday stream last year. I think that one got pretty close. Yeah. But like it was intimidating. And also 3, Hoshi is somebody that each and every one of us looked up to. But because we vibed with each other so much and we supported each other, it didn't feel too scary. It didn't feel too scary. Plus chat was I think all of our communities kind of gathered together at the same time.
Yeah, and it makes sense that when you bring together 5 comfy cozy streamers with comfy cozy communities, that you're just going to reach that comfy cozy critical mass.
Exactly. I love that. Comfy cozy critical mass. I love it. I think that's exactly what it was like. Like everybody in the chat was so supportive, and that's something that, you know, I can only hope for I can only hope to maintain in my streams. But that just goes to show that all of our communities really also vibe with one another too. So I'm really looking forward to the future of FUWATOPIA and more collabs and projects that we're going to be working on together. It'll be really great.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to them as well, and I have very, very high hopes for FUWATOPIA. And in addition to that stream team, you're also part of a production company at SHIRAYURI Pro or S Pro.
Yes, yes. Oh god, I love Shirayuri. Shirayuri. Sometimes I say it's Shirayuri, but when I say it, sometimes some people are like, "Are you saying the S-H-I-T word?" And I'm like, "No, don't. You're mishearing me." So when I say Shirayuri, just so you know, chat, I mean Shirayuri. I just have a hard time saying it like that. Shirayuri. But Shirayuri Production is like a second family to me. They are, I did not debut under them, but I did join them. I was the first VTuber to join them back when they started in August of 2020. And since then, they have been so lovely. So basically, Shirayuri Production is a VTuber agency. We do have contracts under S Pro, but they do their very best to support what visions we each have for our own individual streams. So they don't force us to do anything that we wouldn't like to do. They're always super supportive, always trying to make sure that our communities stay safe and comfy. They do a lot of, they're like super moderators. Like we each have our own moderators, but then Shirayuri staff also works as like super moderators, often taking care of like problematic people in the community. And
obviously they just have a really great level of flexibility for you all, of just the fact that it's not an issue that you are also part of this other separate stream team in addition to being part of S Pro, that it wouldn't be entirely unreasonable for them to say, you know, if you're part of our agency, that we'd rather you not be part of other teams as well to, you know, keep things a bit more streamlined for our own talents. But the fact that obviously that is not an issue definitely speaks to them.
Right. And they really, you know, they just let us be exactly who we are. Whatever way we find that our streams best function, they'll support us with that. And whatever we need help with, they'll do their best to accommodate. And same goes for the talents. Like the talents are amazing too. There's 8 of us so far. 6, or actually no, not 6 yet. Almost 6. 5 out of the 8 of us are debuted, and one of us is actually going to be debuting tomorrow. Yes, that is going to be our very first original VTuber. So all of us, like Shirayuri, as I said earlier, is really supportive with like who we as individuals want to be as VTubers. And thus we each came in. Some of us came in with our already pre-debuted concepts before we joined Shirayuri. Some people like proposed concepts to Shirayuri, and Shirayuri helped them to come to life. We only have one VTuber that was designed by the head of Shirayuri Pro, and who is our original Shirayuri Production VTuber, and she will be debuting tomorrow. That is going to be Amano Kohana-chan. Kohana, she's lovely. Like, so there's Kohana, there's me, Nyaru, Yoro, and then Tatsu, Kusu, who have I not said yet? Lavi.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make this memory test.
It's okay. There's so many of us. I have to be like, who have I not said? I'm gonna end up saying Kusu twice or something like that. But yeah, there's all 8 of them, and each of them have some of the kindest hearts that I've had a pleasure of becoming friends with. They're each unique and fun in their own way, and so basically, Shirayuri is very, very. There's a wide variety of streamers in Shirayuri, and so there's a little bit of something for like each, like different people. Like you'll be able to find at least one VTuber at Shirayuri that vibes with you.
For sure, yeah. No, I've bounced around several of the Shirayuri streams, and just everyone there, and really, while I haven't seen the streams of everyone who was in FUWATOPIA today, that just everyone from Shirayuri seems just immensely talented, very welcoming, that it's very obvious that you have chosen 2 very good organizations to affiliate with.
Yes, and thank goodness for it. Thank goodness for it, because, like, just being somebody who's been in entertainment business stuff long before I got into streaming, you have a lot of bad experiences with like joining organizations that might not be fulfilling, or maybe like the people aren't as great in private as they are on the surface or whatever. But when it comes to S-Pro, when it comes to FUWATOPIA, I have the utmost faith in every single person in the group. Like they are legitimately good people down to the core and good entertainers. So I feel very blessed, very blessed.
That I've definitely found that just as years go by and as you go through experiences, the good and the bad, that you start to develop an eye for things like this, and that generally speaking, your batting average of when you do join groups that are good improves over time, because you get to realize just I suppose tendencies and I suppose red flags, for lack of a better term, earlier and earlier, and that way it makes it so that when you do eventually join up with groups, that your success rate certainly improves, and I think you've definitely found two winners.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. I agree. Like, I have a very, very bad batting average, if you want to put it that way. Like, I guess just I have a history of being very, just like, I don't know, if you were watching the FUWATOPIA stream earlier and you saw that, like, I got the award for most gullible or something. I've been like that. I've been like that for a lot of my life, and I've been like put into like compromising situations because I couldn't see the red flags early on. So I like to hope that. I like to hope that my judgment has gotten better over time. Definitely with these two. Phoebe easily scammed. Yes, Pata, yes. Well, that's how you know that I won't scam you, because I'm the one that gets scammed all the time. I'm not big brain enough to scam you guys. But yeah, I have a very good feeling about both groups, and I'm glad that you do as well.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, you've been very, very busy. You've had several streams this week. If my list is correct, you did Stardew, Lobotomy Corporation earlier in the week, and Wonder Song. I also remember... No, that was the Stardew stream. It's been a long week for me, too. I'm losing track of my own stuff.
It's okay. It's
but
a
you
Friday.
have even more
Friday,
tomorrow. That you have a convention appearance, and I believe this is your second in 2 weeks.
Yes, correct. I guess, as I said earlier, I've been doing con performances and con appearances since before streaming, but it's actually proliferated ever since I went virtual. Like, it's easy to go to events that are across the world now because everything is virtual.
Yeah, you're appearing as in person as you would anyways.
Precisely. It's not that different. It is not that different. I guess the difference is that I can't dance, but I mean I wiggle. Wiggle.
So
but
last
yes,
week
I do have.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry. Go ahead. Okay.
We're both trying.
I do have another performance/appearance tomorrow at SaskCon. It will be my last appearance of the month. There's been something every weekend this whole month. There was GameCon last weekend. There's SaskCon and ICON within like the same 2-hour period tomorrow.
Another advantage of doing virtual, you can double book yourself.
Precisely. I don't have to worry about like, oh, Icon, that's over in Canada. Guess I gotta go take like a 12-hour flight over to Canada or something like that.
And the cons like it too, because they don't need to worry about paying for the flights or hotel.
That is true. That is so true. That is big brain. And wow, yeah, you're right.
Because I've done convention work both on exhibitor side and a bit on convention side as well. So these are the things that I think about. Just when it comes to guests, there's a lot of coordination. You need to make sure that they have, hotel, travel, and just like, especially if it's international, that international guests, you have to worry about all the types of things of just, customs, is paperwork in order, and then there's the cost of international flights.
Yeah.
And that was obviously before we had to worry about public health issues, and it was already complex enough then. So to be able to say, okay, make sure that you're on Discord at this time, or make sure that you're just streaming from your home on your normal rig, and we're just gonna, we're gonna have you projected on our big screen here or hosted here. It certainly makes it easier for them and easier on you.
Exactly. And then in the end, it ends up becoming it becomes more of a team effort between the guest and the convention, I'd like to say. Because, like you said, before the con has to worry about all these different things, and then the person pretty much only has to worry about showing up. In the case of these virtual appearances, like, you also have to have faith that the person who is going to be guesting, like, has the equipment for it and knows what they're doing. I mean, you can provide help, I guess, but ultimately they have to be able to go into their OBS and stream it themselves.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it does kind of build more of like a sense of like rapport between the con and the guest, I suppose.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting that once conventions are allowed to, be in person again, that to what degree will virtual appearances continue? Because obviously, prior to 2020, VTubers were not really a big thing, at least not here in the West. But there would be on occasion when an anime convention might have a guest from Japan, so like especially if it's someone from an anime studio or something, someone that really, can't get away from work for an extended amount of time, but might be able to do something like a video call and do a Q&A that way. That I've heard of cons having guests like that before, but those were relatively few and far between that most people try to do in-person ones. But things being as they have been in the past year, a lot of places have really had to innovate, and I've even seen just, standalone voice actors do things where they'll have a stream and they'll be like, all right, if you buy something on my shop, that I will sign a poster to you on stream, and then it'll get mailed out to your house, so you can still get that, physical thing. You can get a signature if that's what you want, and that there's been these ways to allow that to still happen, even in a socially distanced world. And I think it's going to be interesting to see to what degree conventions maintain that or lean into these innovations when they are no longer required.
And honestly, who knows if cons will ever be the way that they were before COVID? Who knows? Because, like you said, it is so convenient, and then there's still a way to maintain that physical aspect in some ways. And in fact, it kind of protects the guests in some ways, too, by keeping that kind of distance. I did that exact thing that you just said, by the way. Last weekend at GameCon, I did this thing where I was like, if you purchase something physical from my online store, I can sign it for you on stream if you want. We got a couple of those. So it's definitely, I think people are beginning to, like, at first everyone was intimidated by the idea of events and school and work going virtual, but everyone seems to be, like, most people, other than schools, I think schools are still kind of iffy.
Yeah, well,
but
schools
like,
are
for work and cons, people are getting really used to things being virtual.
Yeah, that I've said before, there's never a good time for something like this to happen, but there's never been a better time for it either. That just technology being what it is has meant that we have been able to maintain a significant level of socialization and connection that, if you rewind the clocks even 20 years, would not have been possible.
Right. And in some ways too, by doing these online streams, by having my concerts virtually, I feel like I'm able to connect with my audience even more than when I was doing live performances at cons.
Well, yeah, because
you see them from the stage.
Yeah, it's different from seeing a sea of fans versus being able to see their actual words in the chat.
Exactly. Like, it's great seeing people's faces, seeing their smiles, especially if they're like doing what's called wotage, if they're like doing this like intense choreographed glow stick stuff in front of your stage. That always fires me up a lot. But then also, like, seeing people's actual thoughts and words, and even being able to, like, respond to them in real time, it's different, but not in a bad way at all.
Yeah.
It's in a very, very good way.
I could talk about cons and just sort of the the logistics and the businesses and the sciences behind it all, because that's the type of nerd that I am. But let's talk about some other nerdy things. But actually, before I forget, so the appearance at SaskCon and Icon tomorrow are at what times?
Yes, the one at SaskCon will be at 6 p.m. Pacific, so same time that our interview started today. And then the one at Icon will be an hour and 15 minutes after that. So that'll begin at 7:15 p.m. Pacific.
And will
so
those
I'll
be
have,
hosted on your stream?
Basically a 15-minute gap to hop into the next panel.
Oh my. And is that going to be hosted on your channel or on the convention's channel?
So my SaskCon appearance will be on my channel. It'll only be for that hour, as I have 15 minutes to go over to the next one, which will be on my good friend DJ Music Studio's channel. He is a VTuber named Reg. He is a Canadian DJ VTuber, and you'll be able to see that panel. He's actually the one that invited me. It's his panel. It is his panel. We'll be talking about VTubers.
Nice. And if anyone in the chat needs to remember that, just follow Phoebe at Twitch. Sorry, not Twitch. Goodness. Twitter/Phoebe-chan Chibi. So the same URL that you have here on the screen for Twitch, but with Twitter.
You know, I get Twitter and Twitch mixed up all the time.
Doesn't help
well.
that the
I
first
really do.
The first 4 letters are the same.
Yeah, and then they're both so integrated with each other. For VTubers, you're either streaming on Twitch or you're posting on Twitter, and I'm just like, my Twitter. Yeah, go to my Twitter.
Yes. That was one thing when I was first, laying the groundwork for the show. I was like, all right, whatever I choose, I need to make sure that the handle is available on both Twitter and Twitch, because I do not want to have to, juggle 2 different ones on those 2 sites. If I have to get something different for, like Instagram or YouTube or something, maybe I'll deal with it, but it has to be the same for Twitch and Twitter, otherwise it's just going to confuse me and everyone else.
Exactly. Well, I'm glad that you managed to get the same handle for pretty much all your social media.
And honestly,
right?
I was shocked that nobody had taken them yet. I thought that this was like, a pretty obvious show name, but apparently, I guess I was lucky on what came to mind for me.
You're the OG. Nice.
So when it comes to streaming, what are some of the things that you like to stream? That obviously you have sort of your basis in comfy cozy games, but do you have any comfy cozy games that you would say are among your favorites?
Yes. If you guys were there at my GameCon appearance last weekend, I did do a brief, after a little concert, I did a PowerPoint presentation on my favorite wholesome games and the rise of the wholesome game genre. So a couple of them that have been my favorites are, even though this one can be pretty dark, I would consider this one still a comfy game. We've recently finished the RPG Omori by the artist Omocat. That's our most recent long-term game that we finished. It took maybe 10 or 12 different separate days streaming this to finish it. It was I put about 50 hours into the game on stream.
Oh, wow.
To finish it.
Now,
And
I
it was
tuned in for...
beautiful.
Well, I actually think one of the first streams of yours that I saw was an Omori stream. I have not played through or seen a playthrough of the full game, but I know that it is heavily based in, I guess, mental health would be the way to phrase it.
Yes, precisely. And, in the Beehive, we're very, very big on supporting each other in our own mental health journeys. With the understanding that I'm not a mental health professional, but, just being there for one another when we need it and being understanding if somebody needs a mental health day or a break. And so it really resonated with a lot of us in the community, including myself. Great depictions of anxiety, depression, and suicidal thoughts and stuff in a classy way. Oh my gosh, chat. Yes, Phoebe X Hero. That's another thing that came out of my Omori streams is I basically fell in love with one of the characters, and a very badly drawn PNG of him sometimes pops up on my streams.
It also popped up, if memory serves, during your Valentine's Day stream.
Oh my gosh, were you there?
I tuned in for bits and pieces. I didn't see the hero appearance at the end, but it was you or someone else who posted on Twitter, and I did see that.
Yes, I posted it to Twitter. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody else did, because that was the big moment for our Valentine's Day stream. So basically,
what a twist! Just like props to you first off for just you hosted this super sweet, just very classical, date stream that other streamers have done before, and you were completely committed to the bit. You were just doing all these wonderful cutesy things, and the chat was loving it. And then at the end.
Yes, at the end, basically, everything was going great in the date. Chat had the option to make different choices throughout the date. Like, we had polls set up. Like, where should we go first? We chose a garden. Now, where should we go eat? Where should we go get some food? And at the very end, they had a choice whether to go in for our first kiss or not. Most of chat, I'd say, except for like one person who was like, there was a choice that said chicken out. One person voted chicken out. But like, most people decided to go in for the first kiss. And it seemed like it was gonna end perfectly. What could possibly go wrong? Then suddenly, out of nowhere, stepping in between me and chat before our lips locked, was badly drawn PNG Hero from Omori.
And not just that, you also had Hero being voiced by a guest star, correct?
Yes. One of my mods and my partner, Skatak, was... I had to like beg him. I had to be like, please. Like it was like the half hour before stream started, so I was getting everything set up still, and we were really low on time. I was like, please, can you please voice Hero? That way it won't look like my mouth is moving while Hero's talking, and I'll have an actual dude voicing Hero. It'll be more immersive that way. And he was like, okay, fine. So we just opened up, not even my regular music editing program. We opened up Audacity because it was the fastest thing, and he just recorded them in like 10 seconds, and I was like, okay, perfect. And then I dropped it into OBS. I was like, I will not be able to, because of the way my OBS was set up, I was not able to hear the lines as they were playing. So I had to time it in my head when my reactions would be. Scott did an awesome job. Thank you, Nolan. I will let him know. And then, yeah, he was voiced by my guest star, Skatak. And he ended up sweeping me off my feet, and we rode off into the sunset together, and I left chat all alone. I'm so sorry. I blue-balled chat. I am so sorry.
When did you have that idea of just, what was the progression of the idea? That was it, all right, I want to do a Valentine's date stream, and then halfway through the planning the Hero idea popped up? Or did you have them simultaneously, or was it, oh, I want to do some gag, and then you reverse engineered it?
So it was actually going to be just a perfect vanilla date. It was actually just going to be, everything is great, because the last time we had a date with the chat was back in September, I think. It was very early on in my VTubing. It was to celebrate reaching 1,000 followers on Twitch, I believe. And obviously we've come a far way since then. So at the end of that date, which is actually on my YouTube channel, they kissed me. I kissed them on the cheek. I kissed them on the cheek. And so we hadn't had our first kiss yet. So I was like, you know what? I love my community so much, and we've grown so much together. I think we've gotten to the point where we can have our first kiss on the lips together. So it was gonna end like that. If chat chose kiss on the lips, they were gonna get a kiss on the lips. I was gonna get really close to the screen and give them a little smooch. But then, I think it was the night before, I was putting a document together to figure out all my different scenes and where the choices were going to be and stuff.
Yeah, because this was a full production. That you made this a true choose-your-own adventure. It wasn't just an initial script. That you had assets and paths that went unused.
Exactly. Actually, like, so some of the assets, some of the backgrounds that I used were unselected choices from the last date. So I was able to recycle some of those. I had to make some new assets as well, though. I took inspiration for the backgrounds from a visual novel called Seabed, actually, because Seabed uses like real pictures of uses pictures of the real world, but then puts a filter over it to make it look all sketchy and drawn. So what we got a raid from John.
John, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome, raiders. This is Vtuber Talk. If you follow John and see his otaku talks, you're probably familiar with the basic concept of what we're doing here. My guest tonight is Phoebe, and she was just telling us about a gag that she pulled on her chat for Valentine's Day, where they did a date stream, and then at the end, Hiro from Omori came and swept her off her feet at the last second.
Yes, it was lovely. Also, thank you so much, John, for the raid.
Yes, thank you.
I hope you guys had a wonderful stream. I have been interviewed on John's streams before, and now I'm very, very happy to be here at Vtuber Talks. Thanks for supporting your fellow VTuber interviewers, man. Thank you so much. Yeah, so basically, summary for those that just came in. I did a date with the chat, choose your own adventure date with the chat, for Valentine's Day. And that was actually part of my college's maid cafe, online maid cafe. So it was also a con appearance. And I cock-blocked the chat. I can say this. I can say the word cock here because it's not my own stream. But I cock-blocked the chat by taking a character that I had fallen in love with one of the games that we've been streaming from Omori. And he cock-blocked right before we had our first kiss together. And basically, all the effort that chat had put into the date was for naught.
Tragic.
Yeah, you're gonna go to sleep. Good night.
Sleep well. That's just great.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
What was the moment that you thought of the gag? Because you mentioned that you thought of it the night before.
Yeah, I thought of it the night before. I was like, what if things don't turn out as expected? I think it was because at the time, we had just finished Omori earlier that week on like Tuesday or something. The stream was on Saturday for the Valentine's Day stream. And at the time, I was asking people to send in their Phoebe and Hiro fan art and fan fiction for me to read on a future Omori appreciation stream. Yeah. And so some people had sent in some beautiful art, some beautiful Omori style art to me, and I was like, you know what? Like, wouldn't it be fun? Like, it's a little bit contradictory for me to have been memeing around with chat for the past few weeks, talking about how much I love Hiro, and then for me to suddenly like drop him and start and like kiss chat. So what if Hiro steps in and ruins the entire thing? So I was like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna do it. So I ran it by my sister, who is also a VTuber. I ran it by her. I was like, what if I did this? And she was like, you better do it. You gotta do it.
Yeah, it really seems like just a flash of brilliance moment.
Thank you very much. I'm very proud of it. I'm extremely proud of it. I think that is my proudest moment of all of my entire streaming history up until this point.
and you were so in character that you were really committed to it.
Yeah, oh god, rushing around and trying to implement that last minute was rough because earlier that day, Kusuriko Ito, one of my S-Pro siblings, debuted. And we also had a premiere of an S-Pro cover that day. So we had basically I had a stream that morning. So I was awake from like 8 a.m.
That's even busier than today for you.
Busier than today, yes. So from 8 a.m. to about 12 p.m. that day was S-Pro stream altogether. And then we rated Kusu's debut. And I was watching that for a while. And so then after that, I had maybe like 2 or 3 hours to get ready for the Valentine's Day stream while watching another S Pro sibling, Yoro's karaoke stream. And so I was drawing Hero very last minute. I think drawing him, setting up all the different scenes in OBS, and setting up. I forgot. Oh yeah, another thing that day is I forgot to put music. I was like so busy putting everything else together that I forgot to put background music. So I just played. What's probably playing right now in the stream is the instrumental to my original song Dream Quilt, which I usually use as BGM. This was basically looping the entire time because I couldn't implement any of the custom BGM that I had put together for the stream in time. So it was like super last minute, and I was worried I wasn't gonna be able to pull off the hero gag, but I did it, and I'm proud of it.
It was
I'm very
really
proud.
Good. Definitely, folks in chat, if you have not seen that, look that up. It's available on her Twitter somewhere. It's there. Just look for what was from Valentine's Day.
Twitch.
Oh, even better. There you go. Now, one of the other wholesome.
I'm so happy that you saw that.
Yeah, it was great. So, one of the other wholesome games you mentioned you like a lot is Animal Crossing, and that's a game I personally can speak to a lot. I've played every Animal Crossing game since the GameCube one. I suppose just from the top, do you have a favorite villager?
Oh yes, my favorite villager is one of the newer ones. Not super new, like she didn't debut in Horizons, but I think it had to be like whenever hamsters were implemented. I love Apple, the hamster. She's my favorite.
Apple's nice, and because I feel like the hamsters can be hit or miss. Because there's what's his name, Hamfrey, I think is the one that I feel like I guess he's not exactly meant to look as cute as most others in the game.
Yeah.
But Apple is adorable.
Yes, I love her so much. Some people say her face is creepy because her eyes are so big and buggy, but I love her, and she's so chubby.
Yes.
If I had to choose someone more popular though, I'd say probably like the takoyaki looking guy.
Zucker.
Yeah,
Zucker.
Zucker. I have him in my New Horizons right now.
Yeah.
And he's so precious.
Yeah, he's great because actually he was one that I had found as well, and I didn't realize how popular he was until after the fact. And when I first saw him, I thought he looked a little weird, and I sort of spent like a good 10 minutes on the island just watching him walk around, sort of deciding, and I was like, he looks a little weird, but he's flipping takoyaki. That I know full well that there's only one takoyaki villager in this game, and just over that 10 minutes, I learned to love the guy, and one of the best decisions I made in terms of invites to my island for sure.
Yeah. Oh, so you did get him. You did grab him.
Yeah. I did end up going with him.
Good.
But it was that type of thing where I didn't realize how popular he was until after the fact. It was like, oh, well, I guess if I end up deciding that I don't like him, I can go to Nookazon and get some Nook Miles tickets for him.
Yes, so like, at the very least, you love him right now. But if at any point somebody needs to go and it has to be him, you will at the very least make a profit off of it. It's so sad. It's like trafficking.
Yeah, a little bit, but at the same time, we're also finding loving homes for them. We're finding loving homes.
Yeah.
We're just, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's not like we're just like turning them out into the wild. Like goodbye, go back to the island.
Yeah.
We're finding new homes for them.
Yes.
We're finding new homes for them.
Yeah, I'd say.
Good night, Nolan. Good night.
Night, Nolan. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for being here. For me, I would say my favorite villager, well, for more personal reasons, is Lily the Frog.
Oh!
And, well, first
she's
off,
so precious.
that she's just adorable to begin with. The reason I love her is, goodness, it must have been about 15 years ago now. When my family was looking to get a new dog, and we were debating different names, it was when Wild World, so just the second Animal Crossing game, had come out a month or two prior, and I was playing it a lot. And as my family was debating potential names for the dog, I started rattling off the names of my villagers, and Lily stuck.
Oh, so you guys ended up naming the dog Lily?
Yes. So,
precious.
so Lily, on top of just being great, adorable villager to begin with, now is forever in my heart, also connected in that additional way.
Oh, that's wonderful. That is so wonderful. I don't think I have a villager that I have that personal of a connection with, but that's so lovely that you have a villager that you can say like, yes, this is my special villager. This is my comfort villager.
Yes, and Animal Crossing is
Animal
just.
Crossing.
Hmm?
Did you see that they're coming out with Sanrio amiibo cards?
No, I missed that.
Ah, yes. For New Horizon in particular. I remember they did that for New Leaf, I believe. They had like Hello Kitty and My Melody and stuff, but they're bringing them back for the Switch version. So I'm like marked it on my calendar. It's gonna be a Target exclusive. So if it's anything like those Pokemon Happy Meals, I know I have to go early.
Yeah.
And oh god. Did you manage to grab one of those?
The Pokemon Happy Meals or like the Target exclusive Switch for the New Horizons?
The Happy Meals.
I did get a Happy Meal. I was fortunate in that the McDonald's near me happened to have them. I pulled a foil Squirtle and am very happy.
Oh my goodness! Oh, lucky. I didn't even try. I just kind of assumed that scalpers probably got them before me. And I was like, you know what? I'm just not gonna leave the house.
Yeah, like
I'm not gonna go.
Frankly, I rarely leave the house anyways. What happened that day for me was this really funny story. The fire alarm in my apartment went off, so I had to get out anyway. So I was like, well, might as well drive over to McDonald's, see if they have them, and sure enough, they did.
Nice. So would you not have gone and grabbed that if not for being forced out of your apartment?
Quite possibly, because like I said earlier, I love Pokemon, but also just the cards aren't a huge part of how I personally, consume the franchise, as it were. But it was the type of thing that when the opportunity presented itself, I was like, there's no risk in driving 5 minutes. I need to be out of my apartment anyway, so might as well see. And yeah, so a little something positive from the nuisance of the fire alarm.
Nice. It ended up being a miracle.
Yeah, and it was just a false alarm that nothing actually went wrong. So I was able to return to my apartment, relatively quickly.
Nice. Good. So it was just false alarm.
Yeah.
All good. Nice.
Now, in addition to...
And you got a foil Squirtle. Go ahead.
Yes, yeah.
Go ahead.
Now, in addition to wholesome games, you still have a very wide interest in games, and you told me that the other genre that you find yourself playing a lot of is roguelikes.
Yes. That's been my absolute favorite genre. I mean, if you put aside the fact that wholesome games are kind of becoming their own genre, I'd say that roguelikes are probably my favorite genre. That includes stuff like, most recently, I've been playing a lot of Atomicrops, and that is a bullet hell farming roguelike. And
you mentioned this to me, and I'm still kind of reeling over that particular combination. A bullet hell farming roguelike. Please explain how these three components fit together here.
Okay, so you have a farm, and from the farm you plant crops and you make money so that you can upgrade your weapons and such. But in order to get seeds, you have to go out into the wild, basically, and you have to fight monsters to get seeds to plant at your farm. And these monsters all shoot at you like bullet hell-esque. You're like very a la bullet hell. And and then at nighttime, once you're done adventuring and stuff, you come back to your farm, and they put an all-out bullet hell attack onto your farm. So you have to defend yourself. You have to defend your crops. And at the end of the day, hopefully make money off of whatever crops you manage to save that day. And then if you go through different seasons. If you die in the middle of a season, you have to start the year all over again. But you manage to keep a little bit from each run so that you can upgrade and gets stronger over time in general. So that's, I guess that's the best way for me to explain how you can combine those genres. I didn't think it could be done either. I didn't think it could be done.
Props to the development team for just creativity
Right?
that these are obviously 3 well-established genres on their own, but to just make this hybrid like this, because as you're explaining it, I'm imagining like, okay, I can see this. It sounds a bit ridiculous, but hey, ridiculous is not necessarily bad, and just if they pull it off, they pull it off, and gosh, and I thought stuff like Minecraft or Rune Factory could be stressful.
Right?
This sounds like the most stressful farming simulator ever.
It truly is, but it's really addicting too. It's really addicting. And I feel like because I play so much of those farming games as a result of being a comfy streamer, we play a lot of farming games. So we play like Ooblets, we play Stardew, I would play Harvest Moon and the likes on stream as well if I had a newer Harvest Moon game. But it fits in that genre of like farming games that I like to play, but while also putting a more chaotic spin on it. I streamed it once though, and I don't know if I'm going to stream it ever again.
I feel like it would require too much attention. Yeah, I was going to say that just I don't think bullet hell games and streaming really mixes well together, assuming that you want to have a consistent interaction with your chat.
Yeah, you'd have to be more hands-off with chat, I think. And I do know that it's possible to do because my SHIRAYURI production sister, Nyaru, always streams Toho games. She really likes streaming. She has Toho Thursdays, yeah. So props to her. I don't know how she does it.
That's impressive.
But also, I do talk to my chat a lot. So I think it just doesn't fit with my style of streaming, probably.
Yeah, well, props to her for being able to do that. But yeah. And where's that game available? Is that one you can get on Steam?
Yes, correct. It is available on Steam. I don't know where else it's available, but I know it's on Steam.
All right, I'm going to have to look that up. That's Atomic Crops.
Oh, heck yes. Let me know how you like it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'll have time to play it, but it's something that, like, such is the curse of being a gaming and anime fan that we truly live in an era of an embarrassment of riches where for every game you play, you add 2 or 3 to just the list. Everyone has the list, and the list does not get shorter. It only gets longer.
Whether it's anime, whether it's games, manga. For me, visual novels. I have such a big visual novel backlog. It's terrible.
Well, so
you mentioned noise. Oh,
noise?
Rina wants me to mention. I guess that is tangentially related. Would you mind?
No, go right ahead.
All right. So, I talked about this a little bit earlier, but I do sing professionally, and I do voice act. Or I'm starting to get into professional voice acting. And one of my most recent professional gigs was for a game called Noise Starlight. It's in production right now. There's a current version of it. Starlight is, I believe, like a new version or an expansion to come out next year. And it is a bullet hell visual novel. Wait, rhythm bullet hell visual novel.
Okay, well, I guess I can sort of get that because visual novels are able to combine other genres a bit more seamlessly by just sort of having, all right, you're in your visual novel phase versus your other genre phase.
Precisely. Now, the rhythm bullet genre, I've seen maybe one game do it before. I don't remember what it was called, but I was watching my friends play it. And so, the bullets just move along with the song. But I'm excited to be on this project. And
are you able to talk at all about the character that you voice, or is that still classified information?
Oh no, it has been released. I did post a picture of her on my social medias. Her name is Hikari. And she's part of an idol group called Sunrise. Hikari in a lot of ways is is a very, very she's a perfect character for me. One, because she just looks like a blue recolored version of me. Like
Yeah,
same hair.
I was thinking you were
and
starting to
face and
describe this, and I
stuff.
was like, well, this seems like typecasting. Not that there's a problem with typecasting, but it sounds like they were typecasting you.
I mean, I'm good with it because she's precious.
Yeah, no,
I tend to like those kinds of characters anyway, so I don't mind getting typecasted as
no.
them.
Hey, typecasting means that you're getting work.
It means that you're getting what?
Typecasting means that you're getting work.
Exactly. And you know, now I'm currently singing and doing lyric writing and voice acting and streaming as my full-time gig. I'm trying to make it my career right now. So, you know, typecast me as much as you like. Yeah, she's like this very soft-spoken and gentle and shy character that I relate to very much. And she's basically we're part of a group called Sunrise, and we're the rival group to the main idol group.
Ooh.
in the game. So I'm a rival. Yeah, I'm a
Okay.
rival. Very, very excited to be part of the project. The cast is great, and the developers are wonderful, and I cannot wait to share. I finished recording our first song recently, actually, so I'm very excited to share that eventually.
Fantastic. Do you know which platforms the game is going to be released on?
Currently, the versions that are out of the game, they have a Steam version, they have a mobile version. So I know that much. I don't believe there's any console releases as of right now, but definitely PC and mobile.
Gotcha. And the name of that one once more?
It is Noise Starlight.
Noise and
I'll just put
NOISZ from
just
what
like
Rune
Rui
said in the
spelled
chat.
it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's fantastic. So, when you're not acting in visual novels, what are some of your favorite visual novels to play?
Aha. Let's see. Well, I love Steins Gate a lot, but though for
Oh.
Steins Gate, I only read the visual novel for the sequel. I watched the anime for the first one. I love one of my favorites is Island. It's a I don't know how to explain it without spoiling stuff, but it's a romance. I love Rewrite, which is it's a visual novel by Key, who made they made Clannad, they made Little Busters, a lot of those. But honestly, to be honest, some of my favorite visual novels are actually adult visual novels. So I don't know. I guess I can say it here. But my number one favorite visual novel of all time is called Subarashiki Hibi. On Steam, it's called Wonderful Every Day. And it's very not for all it's very adult. That's all I'll say. But it has a wonderful story and characters.
Now, I know apart from these romance and, well, I suppose they aren't all light and fluffy because I've seen the Steins Gate anime. I've not played the games, but the anime is one of my favorites. I actually think the dub for that one is just, one of the top ones out there.
excellent.
That J. Michael Tatum, that was sort of his magnum opus. So J. Michael Tatum is the voice actor that not only played Okabe, but he was also the director and the script adapter for the series. So that was his baby. That was his project when it came stateside. Obviously, he didn't write the original, but when Funimation licensed the property, that it was really put into his hands, and I think he did just a phenomenal job with it.
I had no idea that he also did the directing, and you said the casting or something too?
The script adaptation.
Script adaptation. That's incredible. And so he would be a perfect fit also to play Okabe, to
Yeah.
be in charge of all of that as well. Wow. Who
So-
does that? I don't know any
Yeah.
other VAs that have done
They-
something
they-
like that before.
They do that occasionally. I know Caitlin Glass also directed Ouran High School Host Club, in which she was the lead Haruhi. It's not something that is done every day, but it's also not unheard of.
I see. Well, that's super, super cool. I have seen scenes from the English dub, so I can attest to the fact that it is excellent. But I did watch it in in Japanese.
Yeah,
Maybe I
and
better go
obviously
back and
the
rewatch it in
Japanese
English.
the Japanese voice actors also just do incredible. That is one where really English or Japanese you can't go wrong. But I definitely always make sure to vouch for the dubs, since I feel like dubs don't always get the love that they deserve.
They don't. And I think it's not until I started like looking into industry stuff that I realized it's not the actors' fault. It's like the process of like
Sometimes it's the script adaptation, but also that the industry itself has grown so much over the past 3 decades that if you really can't compare something that was done in late 90s, early 2000s to something that was done post 2010 or closer to what we have now. It just the skill of the translators, first and foremost, I think is really the key to what has helped dubs become just better across the board, because the language is no longer translated in a pure literal sense, but it is properly localized. So that
yes.
you actually have sentences and just people talking like people talk in English.
And it's nuanced for that English audience as well.
Yeah.
I just love that you're talking about this, because I'm really passionate about localization stuff as well. So, oh gosh, we could talk about this so much.
Please, no. Like, I always love when I strike a good nerve that, minor bit of background about myself. I actually, once upon a time, had a internship with Funimation.
Oh wow! What did you do?
I was a marketing intern for them for a time, and actually, one of the first things that I was asked to do was to help pull clips from Steins Gate for some of the trailers and social media posts. So I actually watched the dub of Steins Gate about 3 months before the public release. It still had the time code in the corner and everything. And I got to watch that through when it was like, a week out of production, because I was helping them pull things for just the marketing materials. So Steins Gate also has that, personal meaning for me, but just working with them, and that's really how I got into the con space and why I have this, production con brain that I have of how all that happened, and why I also feel particularly strongly about, one, vouching for dubs, and why I sort of have that mentality of why they have improved as they have.
Well, you definitely are able to give more of a professional insight onto this than I can. But I'm really glad that you value localization like that a lot.
Yeah, but now I want to hear like your stuff, because obviously like like I said, this was an internship. It was one summer. I did a bit of convention work for them afterwards. Haven't worked with them lately. Still have a couple friends there. We're on good terms, but I am not, professionally attached to them, and have not been for some time. And I always love hearing perspectives, and especially ones that are passionate. You said that like localization was a thing for you, so please do a nice rant for us.
Well, those of you guys who were at my stream yesterday, if you saw the 50 sub drop, somebody gifted 50 subs in the chat. That person is a very dear friend of mine. They're known in the localization community as Steiner, and as his name would suggest, he's actually not an official translator for like the official localizations of Steins Gate or anything like that. But he started out as a fan translator for Steins Gate material. And he's just been following him, and he actually is the person who is doing the translation for the English localization of the VTuber Dad manga.
Oh.
Yeah. So Mori Calliope did a highlight of that.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Yeah, on one of her streams. So,
But that is how a lot of translators, get their start, is that they start out as fan translators and then get into the, the professional side of things.
Exactly. but a lot of them, like from what I've seen, don't like before they get into the industry, don't think very highly of like official localizations. And you see official translators and editors and stuff getting hate all the time for like, oh, like I can't believe they used social distancing as a joke in this English sub of Kaguya-sama or something like that. Like people, they're getting hate all the time. But it's so, like you said, it's so important. Like what makes these translations better quality is the fact that they are localized and nuanced for these like Western audiences, you know?
Yeah.
And it's not, if you get that word for word machine translation, whatever it is that you want, you're gonna lose something, especially for like shows like my favorite anime is the Monogatari series, and there's
That's
a lot
a series
of,
that
like,
can never be translated and localized. It cannot be, because
precisely.
that
But,
series is
like-
too much based in Japanese wordplay to ever be localized.
Exactly. But you know who has the rights to it, I think, is Funimation. And so they gotta do their
I think
best.
it's
They gotta do their
Aniplex.
best. Aniplex? Aniplex. Okay.
I could be wrong.
I got a poster
Memory
from
serves.
one of their booths at Anime Expo once that had Monogatari on it. So it's one of them. I think it's Aniplex then. But so they gotta do their best to localize it in the ways that they can. And of course, like, so if you translate it word for word, like all those Japanese puns are like gonna go right over your head. It's not
Yeah.
gonna be fun.
Oh
You're
yeah,
not gonna think it's a
and
good
when I
show.
said earlier that it can never be localized, I meant you can't dub that series. That obviously you can do subtitles, but it's not going to work if you try and dub it because of the wordplay that's really required. But yeah,
Exactly.
it does. That has to be just one of the most difficult subtitle translation jobs there is.
So it's like, so the closest thing you're gonna get to a localization of Monogatari is like something with more Western puns in it.
Yeah.
It's not gonna match up. It's not even gonna match up closely to what the Japanese is saying, you know. But you know, it's still something that I, as a Western viewer, like to consume, and so I appreciate any attempts at localizing it and making it understandable and enjoyable for me, you know. So
Yeah.
So basically, my whole rant is that like all the hate that these translators and editors and localizers get for like people think localization is like a plague or whatever.
Yeah,
but they're
certainly
just
got a
making
bad
it
name.
the best they can for you.
That it's not.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose bring it back to Pokemon for a moment. My personal mini rant about localization is why 4Kids actually, despite how many people picture them, is actually the hero of the story, and why 4Kids animation's decisions made not only Pokemon but the anime industry as we know it what it is today. And my long and short of it is, not that many people realize that at the time that Pokemon was first coming over to the US, that the vast majority of America did not have cable. Or at the very least, even if like the majority had it, cable was not a default expectation in the American household. So they put their shows on public broadcast, which is subject to FCC regulations. FCC regulations, which include you cannot show a gun, you cannot show smoking, you cannot show a child in mortal peril. These are some of the things, and as well for the initial One Piece dub, that there was the whole joke of, oh, Sanji has a lollipop and not a cigarette. They didn't have a choice. That was the FCC saying that if you want to do this on public broadcast, you must conform to these guidelines. And at that point in time, when cable was not ubiquitous throughout the US, 4Kids had a choice. And the choice was, do we go with just only a cable broadcast and severely limit our potential audience, or do we just, bend over backwards and do what we need to do to make sure that we conform to FCC regulations so we can do public broadcast and get a much, much bigger audience? And because they did that, because they went on public broadcast, the number of people that saw just the original One Piece, that saw Pokemon, that saw Yu-Gi-Oh! Is just immensely larger than it would have been if they had chosen the other path. And I don't think many people are going to deny that for really the establishment of anime in America, that obviously 4Kids was not the first company to localize in America, but I would say that Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And to a lesser extent the One Piece dub, but really Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! I think are the two pillars on which the entire American anime market as we know it today was built. That was the gateway for so many people, and it is because they were on public broadcast that those people saw it, and that many people are now anime fans today. So if they don't take that path, if 4Kids doesn't do some of the things they do, then not as many people get into anime, and you have, just sort of the timeline ripple effect of how much smaller is the anime fandom, the anime industry today, if 4Kids doesn't do that back then.
Yeah. People, I think it was those kinds of decisions, those kinds of hard decisions that they made back then, that like make people have this stigma nowadays where it's like, oh, localization is like evil, like they're trying to ruin our shows. But like it's all about accessibility.
Yes, accessibility is the name of the game.
They did what they had to. And nowadays, because people have this expectation of like these scary big companies going in and changing the original content or whatever for no reason,
and the other thing is,
it's like they end up like nitpicking.
Yeah. And the other thing that people need to realize is, unless a creator signs a particularly lax contract, which is very, very rare, every change that happens needs to be approved by the licensor. That obviously we have no way of knowing what the exact contractual stipulations are for any given property, but generally speaking, the licensor is going to retain the right of refusal for a change to their IP. So all these changes that you see, certainly in modern adaptations, are ones that the Japanese licensor has said, yes, this is okay. You as the licensee, as the localizer, we permit you to do this, and believe that in doing so, you are not misrepresenting our property, our brand. So, in the same way of if you're bashing on the localizers, you're also bashing on the creators, because the creator, in most cases, we don't have a way of knowing exactly which ones might be the exceptions, but more often than not, the creators are giving their blessing.
Give their approval, right.
Well, that was not a tangent I expected, but like I told you, I always love it when I find something that was unexpected, because that was great.
Yeah, that was wonderful. Like, I honestly, off stream, I could talk with you about this forever.
Yes.
But like, I hope you guys had a very, very, very fun time, learning about localization stuff and listening to our rants.
Yes. Now, so we got on all of this because we were talking visual novels. And while you like your visual novels and your more serious ones, you mentioned on a stream earlier this week that you also really enjoy creepypastas. Yes, I do. And that's about as off-brand as I can think of for you. So I guess, have you found that there is a particular reason that you enjoy them? Or, I can totally understand if sometimes it's just, I enjoy it because I enjoy it.
Gosh, I don't know if I'm like a masochist or something, but I tend to... I like scaring myself a little bit. Like, I don't... but it's like, I have a very... Like, I like horror, but I have a very specific type of horror that I can actually tolerate. Like, I hate stuff that's very, like, gory. I hate jump scares. It's always, like, psychological horror and, like, things that make you think... Things that Phoebe confirmed masochist. BGR, no! I said I don't know. I might be. I might not be. But, it's like stuff that I find that creepypastas are often very tied into the real world. So they're not like particularly, some of them are very supernatural, but a lot of them are not like, you could interpret them supernaturally, or like this is something that you could that could happen to you in the real world.
Yeah,
I don't know.
the
I
phrase
guess
that I've used in the past is that creepypastas are the digital age's urban legend.
exactly. Urban legends you could always like. I remember watching when I was a little kid, we had like a DVD that was like Japanese urban legends, and there were all these like live action shorts about different Japanese urban legends, but they were all something that could happen to you in the real world. It's not like I want these kinds of things to happen to me, but they're very intriguing. They're very intriguing, and that feeling of like the chill that I get from reading them. I don't know. I just enjoy it. Like I don't like Reddit, but when I do go on Reddit, I go onto R No Sleep to read some of that stuff.
Do you have any particular favorite stories?
It's hard to think of any off the top of my head right now because there were times when I would mass read them. Nowadays it's like it's more scarce, and I watch more video essays on these kinds of things.
Gotcha.
But from off the top of my head, the ones that really scare me a lot are the ones that are about like games and rituals that you could perform in real life. Like there's one about the Three Kings game. That one stuck with me a lot. Nothing scary happens in it, but it tells you about like going into your basement and setting up 3 chairs, each with like 4 chairs, one for you, and then 3 each with a mirror on it, and like different. I think the scary thing about that particular creepypasta was like it focuses not so much on the ritual, like it gives you the instructions for the ritual, but it focuses mostly on different safety measures that you have to put in place just in case the game goes wrong. And I know it's so scary. It's like make sure, like it says like in caps, like make sure that your phone is charged before you attempt this game.
I mean, at least they're providing these warnings. At least they're nice and detailed. Of okay, we're doing this, but we're going in with the full understanding of the risk that we are assuming in performing this ritual. Here are some precautionary guidelines.
Exactly. It makes it feel more real, I guess. And also it makes you feel both assured and more frightened for your life
at the same time. Yeah,
because
then it's like, well, wait a minute. If I need these precautions, then that means that like I might actually need them, right?
Exactly. And there were so many. There were like maybe 6 different precautionary measures listed in that creepypasta. And I'm just like, oh god, why do you need 6 different backup plans?
Oh dear.
Wow.
Like, that is not my cup of tea, like, but just hats off to the people who write it, and hey, if you enjoy it, more power to you. I will be right over here with the lights on, and you have fun with your ritual.
Yeah, right? It's like, I never want to attempt this, but it's really interesting reading about it and imagining if I did, and then just completely freaking myself out and not being able to sleep.
The good news to know is you do make sure to sleep every so often. You are a busy bee, as we know.
I've been trying to, and actually starting next week, I'm probably going to be starting a month-long partner push on Twitch. So my streams are going to be a lot longer too. I'm going to be doing like 6 to 8 hour streams every week for like a month until we can reach our like partner goal of a 75 viewer average.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Right now I'm at like a 40, 50 viewer average or so, but apparently that's the time to start doing your partner push. And so I'll be getting possibly less sleep. Less sleep for the next couple of months because I'm also working on that EP at the same time. But you know, like, it's
be sure to at the very least be sure to eat. Obviously, stay hydrated during the streams. That if you're gonna be pushing for this, push for it and give it your best. But the push for partner is a dark ritual unto itself. Have your precautions in place.
Oh, Hoshi's here from FUWATOPIA. Hello, Hoshi.
Hey, Hoshi.
Thank you so much. Yes, I'll be trying to take good care of myself. So the plan is like reduce the number of days streaming. So maybe 4 instead of 5. And then like have weekends available to work on my EP and to like relax and play games and stuff.
Okay, so yeah, well that's good. It sounds like you're already being mindful and planning, and at the very least, if you're pushing for longer streams, that you are not then trying to do the same number of streams and then stacking the EP work on top of it all. So that's good that you have your schedule management in place.
We always talk about self-care in the Beehive, and I know I'm still working on getting better at it, but I want to set a good example. I want to set a good example for all my bees. And Hoshi says describing partner push as a dark ritual is so accurate. Yeah, from what I have seen. I'll be doing my very best, though.
And we will certainly be cheering you on.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So, wrapping back a bit to more recent things, so obviously Pokemon Day is today in Japan, tomorrow in the US, but today was the day they had the Pokemon Presents Direct, as it were. And they had three main things. There was a new trailer for Pokemon Snap, the unveiling of the Diamond and Pearl remakes, and the big sort of kicker, unexpected thing for today was the reveal of Pokemon Legends Arceus, which looks like it may be the Pokemon Company's first foray into proper open-world RPG. So, you've mentioned that you are a fan of Pokemon. I suppose, for starters, what was your first Pokemon game? Do you have a favorite Pokemon? And did you have any particular thoughts on Pokemon Legends, or really any of the announcements from today?
So, yes, I am a Pokemon fan, lifelong Pokemon fan. As a child, I was I loved Pikachu. And so everything was Pikachu. I had Pikachu plushies, I had a Pikachu Nightlight and Piggy Bank, and my Halloween costume was Pikachu, and I had a Pikachu umbrella. And so, but the thing was, it wasn't because of the games. Like, I was way too little to play the games, and also my first console was a PS2 or a GameCube. So obviously I didn't play any of the handheld, like, Game Boy Pokemon games as a kid. I knew Pokemon from the anime. So the very first Pokemon game that I actually played myself, and I know some people are gonna judge me for this because it's so late to the game, but my first was Diamond and Pearl. That was my first one.
Oh, so this one probably has just that added significance for you.
Exactly. So with that announcement today of the Diamond and Pearl remakes, I was just like, oh my gosh! Okay, everyone's been getting their first Pokemon remade. It's my turn now. It's my turn. Oh goodness, I'm very excited for that, and I love the chibi style, the mostly chibi in the overworld style that they're going for this one. You know, I thought it was gonna be a lot like Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, but it's a little different, especially in terms of those graphics and stuff. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to playing it, and possibly it might be my first. I forget what the release dates are. What's gonna come out first, the Diamond and Pearl remake or
Diamond
the
and Pearl.
Legends?
Yeah, Diamond and Pearl
okay.
is, they've said, late this year, so that's probably gonna mean November or something, because they always release before the holiday season. That way they can get, that, good holiday sales bump in their numbers.
Exactly.
And they've said early 2022 for Legends, which honestly could probably be anything before June. My guess is as good as yours there, but if I had to guess, I would say probably closer to April or May 2022, simply because if they're releasing something in late 21, they're going to want to space out their releases a fair bit, just because you don't want the consumer fatigue, as it were, and just, having those numbers spread out. So probably, like I said, right before holiday season 21, and then, April, May would at least be my guess.
So in that case, this Diamond and Pearl remake might be the very first Pokemon game that I stream. It might be. I mean, I have some things, like I have Let's Go Eevee. I have plenty of Pokemon games I could stream, but this might end up being the very first one that I actually do stream with chat.
Do you recall who your starter was?
Gosh. See, I know who I would choose right now. If it were right now, I'd probably choose Piplup. But I believe I chose Turtwig back then because I was a big like grass trainer. Before fairy types came out, my thing was I loved grass types.
And well, you liking fairy types definitely is on brand. Makes a lot of sense. Is your favorite Pokemon, whether it be starters or otherwise? Well, you mentioned Pikachu, so is Pikachu just your favorite Pokemon, period?
Was my favorite Pokemon as a child. And then I realized that there are like other Pokemon. I mean, as a kid, I also really loved Charmander and Squirtle. I don't know why I didn't like Bulbasaur as much, but like I loved Pikachu and those two starters in particular. But nowadays, my favorite, everyone thinks that it's gonna be Combi, and I love Combi. But when it comes to non-legendaries, my favorite is FUWATOPIA. Because it is so tiny. Yeah. FUWATOPIA. I do like Sylveon. I cosplayed as a Sylveon Gajinka a couple years back. I like Sylveon, but they're not my favorite. But when it comes to legendaries, my favorite is Meloetta.
No surprise there.
Yeah, basically exactly what you would think my favorites would be.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
God, I used to be so self-conscious about like choosing exactly the characters that people would expect me to choose. Like whenever I would play so most recently, Super Mario 3D World just got a remake. And I played it back when it first came out, and I was playing it with my partner. I was playing the remake with my partner recently, and I chose Peach. I was like, I guess I'm not self-conscious about choosing Peach anymore. Like I used to be self-conscious about choosing Peach in games, like in Mario Kart and stuff, because people would be like, "Of course you're choosing Peach. Of course you're choosing the Pink Princess," and I'm like, I'd get embarrassed about that. Now I'm just like, heck, I'm gonna choose whoever I want to choose in these games.
Yeah, no, it's on brand because that's your personality. That's the stuff you like. That you make the stuff you like your brand because you like it. So and obviously it's totally fine to have something that diverges from your personal brand or your normal taste, but it also just, there's a reason you like what you like, and if you choose something that makes sense, why would you give someone, trouble for picking what makes sense?
Yeah, that is true. That's true. Peach is there for you. No shame there. Oh, thank you, Roina. Thank you. Yeah, I think that's something else that VTubing has really, really helped me with. Is to just kind of accept myself for everything that I am. And, a lot of people have been asking me, why aren't you auditioning for HoloLive? That's a big thing that I still get people asking that. It's like, are you sure you don't want to audition for HoloLive? And it's like, well, then I have to give up the Beehive. I have to give up Phoebe. I have to give up everything about myself that I've worked so hard to embrace, And yeah, so I guess something that I'm really proud of is how in the Beehive I've learned to love being myself and to like proudly be myself. And I think a lot of other people in the chat have also learned to be comfy in their own shoes through our community.
As the B form of Robin Williams' genie in Aladdin once said, be yourself.
Oh, I forgot about that form of the genie. I love it.
So you mentioned that you did a Sylveon Gajinka, and I also know that just you've done a lot of cosplay in general and are also just a fan of J fashion, as is also indicated by your model. What was sort of the beginnings for that, and I suppose what are some of your favorite projects that you've done?
When it comes to cosplay, I've been doing that a long, long time. So my first cosplay was when I was 5. It was a So my parents have always been very supportive of me liking anime and games and stuff because they were the ones that introduced me to it. when I was little, I really liked Sailor Moon, and so my first cosplay was Sailor Chibi Moon, the pink Sailor Scout in Sailor Moon. And then I did a Pikachu. As I got older and I started getting into edgier anime and stuff that my parents wouldn't watch with me, I actually did a Sakura cosplay from Naruto as when I was like 10 or something. And then after that, I just kind of only started cosplaying. Like I'll do miscellaneous cosplay every now and then, like that Sylvian Gajinka. But my big influence as a singer and as a person, I guess, is the character Roncalli from Macross Frontier. She is, to put it in the best way that I can, she is my kin, basically. And so I only started cosplaying her for years. Like ever since I was 12, I've been pretty much mainly cosplaying Ronka, and then occasionally like a different character from a different game or anime or something like that. So I've been cosplaying a long time. Now J Fashion came later in the game. A lot of my life, I never got to choose any of my own clothes. But I always wanted to dress really, really frilly and pretty and girly. There was a Japanese supermarket that I'd always go to, and one of the cashiers would wear Lolita dresses, and every time I'd see her, I'd be like, is that print from this and this Lolita brand, like Angelic Pretty or something? She'd be like, yeah. And I was like, I want to grow up and wear, like, this is an adult woman working at a supermarket who's wearing Lolita fashion on the job. Like, I want to be able to express myself like that one day. So once I got into college and I got my own like part-time jobs and stuff to pay for, I started like getting everything that I wanted as a child. Like singing lessons. I never was allowed to have singing lessons as a kid, so I paid for that. I started choosing my own clothes, like getting into Lolita's a little expensive, so I wasn't really able to afford that till I started working more.
It is very fancy. It is very high class, and the pieces are just super high quality.
But like, it was so liberating being able to finally wear exactly the kind of clothes that I had always wanted to wear as a kid. And I mean, I'd probably be wearing it in public more often if not for, because I started getting all these Lolita dresses shortly before COVID happened, and now I don't have anywhere to wear them. So
that is one of the things of just like, I have not had an excuse to wear a good suit more than once or twice. Like I've been to 2 virtual weddings in the past year, and apart from that, the only other time that I've actually worn a suit is I've done a stream or 2 with some other friends for like the Game Awards, and I got in a suit for that because I was like, you know what, I'm not the type of person that would want to be in a suit every day, but I like dressing up every now and again, and there have not been as many opportunities lately when you are, inside all the time.
I feel like I pretty much just wear pajamas. Do you do the same thing?
It's either pajamas or just, jeans and t-shirt, just casual stuff, whatever's comfortable. The thing for me that I realized is just the biggest difference is I have barely worn shoes at all. That just, I figure if I'm in my apartment, why would I wear shoes? That they're just, constricting on my feet. And what's the need in that? That obviously, anytime I go out, I'm gonna wear shoes, but in the house, why bother? So I've worn shoes less in this past year than any other time in my life.
Wow. When you put it that way, honestly, same. Like, probably the only other time that I've not worn shoes this much is when I was like an infant or something.
Yeah, because and I'm always still wearing socks. That I wouldn't want to go barefoot or anything, but just I keep the floors in my apartment relatively clean. I'm not worried about stepping on anything really. So
exactly. Yeah, so it's like every now and then you do have to go out, like either to refill a prescription or like to go to the post office or whatever, go get groceries. And then when you do, it's like wearing shoes is like a new feeling.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like, oh, yeah, feeling. I almost forgot about this.
Yeah, like that was a thing. That's so interesting that you talk about that. Yeah, I pretty much just wear pajamas all the time, except for when I have to go out. Ugh.
Now, you mentioned one of the things that you started to do once you got a job and started having your own income was singing lessons, and obviously music is a huge thing for you. We've already talked about both the EP that is already released and the one you're working on. Did you, I suppose, grow up having a particular music inspiration, or did you just listen to everything? And when it came to lessons, was there a particular style that you sought lessons for, or did you just want to, get something that provided you a general basis in singing technique?
Let's see. Well, I guess I'll get to the lessons later because that's something that I didn't grab until I was in college. But as a kid, I remember the earliest music that I listened to, like, that I enjoyed and I was like, oh, this is my favorite singer, was Britney Spears. She was my first idol, I suppose, as a kid. And then I remember Kingdom Hearts coming out in... Like, I would listen to Japanese music every now and then because my parents would watch anime, and so Japanese music would come up. Yes, Hosty, yes! But it wasn't something I, like, went out of my way to listen to. Until, like, 2002-ish, Kingdom Hearts came out. And that was the first game that my dad ever got for me. Like, so he brought it home one day, and I had been used to just playing, like, games on, like, I don't know, like the PBS Kids or the Nick Jr. website, or like
didn't we all? Didn't we all?
Right. So this is the first like non-educational game that he got for me. He brought it home, and I was like, "What's this?" He was like, "What do you mean, what's this? It's a game." And I was like, "Am I supposed to be excited about this?" He's like, "Yes." I was like, I had to be like 5 or something, 5 or 6 at the time. And I didn't know that I was supposed to be excited about like console games, because it was just always something that
it was a foreign concept at that point.
Dad and Mom would do. Exactly. So I remember popping Kingdom Hearts in for the first time, and Simple and Clean came on. The opening came on.
No, I remember they even used that in the like the commercials that they would show on TV, and like I distinctly remember hearing that music, and I'm a big just video game music nerd in general. Hikari, the instrumental version of Simple and Clean, is actually one of my favorite pieces of all time. It just the orchestral arrangement. I believe it was Yoko Shimomura who did the composition for it. It's just absolutely gorgeous, and the J-pop arrangement of it is really just so iconic and so catchy.
Exactly. It's just that's so valid that you like the orchestral version a lot. It's funny to me because when I listen to the lyrics for Hikari, especially the Japanese version, like it's really about relationship problems, but like it has nothing to do with the game, and the orchestral version sounds so epic, and then you listen to the lyrics and it's like turn off the television and pay attention to me, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it is slightly out of place. But who cares? It's catchy. It sounds good.
Good. Exactly. And it was because of that. It was because of Hikari. It was because of Simple and Clean that I really got into looking for J-pop. I went out of my way to look for J-pop. I would listen to a lot of Utada Hikari. And so I just started listening to J-pop and stuff. At some point, I had a French music phase.
Ooh.
Where I got into an artist named Alize. That was my phase back in like the 5th grade or something. And then finally, this is where my big influence comes in. The 6th grade, Macross Frontier comes out, and I'm in the car with my dad, and I hear a like jingle from the anime where she's singing about carrots playing in the car, and I'm just like, this is the most magnificent thing that I've ever heard in my life. Like, what is this? And my dad was like, oh, remember that show, Robotech/Macross, that we showed you when you were like a baby? Well, there's like a 25th anniversary version. There's a 25th anniversary version of the installment to the series that's out right now. He's like, do you want to watch it with me and your dad? And I'm like, do you want to watch it with me and your mom? And I'm like, yeah. And so that's where I found Ranka Lee, that character that I cosplay all the time. And her seiyuu, her voice actress, Nakajima Megumi. And they've been my biggest influence since then. That was like my gateway into idol type music.
So Macross and Ranka were simultaneously your influence for cosplay and for singing.
Exactly. Like basically, like I resonated with her so much. She ended up becoming. So this is kind of sad, but like I ended up kind of taking all of the love I should have been giving to myself and putting it towards Ranka. So I would get very defensive. Like 12, 13-year-old Phoebe would get into fights with probably like 30-year-old men on like the Anime Suki forum about like whether Cheryl or Ranka was better. Like people were bashing on this like 12-year-old without even knowing it. I was getting into fights with
we've all had that one thing that we're a fan of and that we will go to bat for and that we are ride or die for. There's nothing problem with having that one thing.
And she was, and to an extent still is that one thing. And at the same time, like I remember I was showing my community, we have anime nights, or we used to have anime nights before I got too busy in my Discord server. And I showed them Macross Frontier. And every time somebody would say Ranka was cute or like compliment her, I'd be like, oh, thank you, as if they're complimenting me. And wait a second. Like, that's how much I resonated with her. And now because I'm able to VTube as Phoebe, and people are showing me that I am worthy of love as myself, like I'm starting to detach myself a little bit more from Ranka. So I don't identify as strongly with her anymore because I've finally developed my own identity now.
Yeah, but the love's always going to be there.
Exactly. I'll always love her. I'll always love her.
Yeah. That's fantastic. That a mutual friend of ours and former guest of the show, Lane Blanc, is also a big Macross fan, I know, and that you two have actually collaborated on some Macross projects in the past, and that just I know that everything you are saying here is absolutely true, and that it is a very special series to both you and her.
Yes, and that's how we were able to really get close and bond, and it's honestly, like, she feels the same way about Ranka's rival, Cheryl, as I do with Ranka. But we're not rivals in any way, shape, or form. Like, Lane and I love each other very much.
Yeah. Now, gosh, I hope you're not too tired because we have admittedly gone longer than I normally slate for. I hope you're doing all right.
I hope you're okay. Are you okay?
Oh, I'm totally fine. I didn't have another
totally
stream
fine
earlier today.
Like maybe we should wrap up, so that I can go eat. But I'm actually
wait a minute! You haven't eaten?
But it's no. I had bagels during the FUWATOPIA stream, so I'm actually okay. Oh, Alimba, hello.
Limba, thank you for the follow.
What's it called? So I'm like not starving, but like I'm actually really having fun right now. We're talking about a bunch of stuff I didn't expect to talk about either, like the localization stuff. So
yeah, and it's like I don't want to shoo you off stage or anything, but I also want to make sure that, you know, as you said, self-care, take care of yourself. Goodness, I feel a bit bad if I keep you too much longer, but I'm also having a great time. So I guess we'll talk a little bit longer, but I do want to make sure that you get to have a proper dinner. Goodness.
Thank you, bless you. But yeah, I like totally don't mind going a little longer.
Okay.
Let's go.
So, you mentioned that one of your other passions is actually academia. You had a tweet last week before your panel at GameCon that was talking about the presentation that you prepared for your panel, and you actually had a whole thing saying, like, the academic in me is alive and well, and I was wondering if you could just speak to that a bit.
Yeah. So, actually, where I was supposed to be, so in basically summer/fall of 2020, I started VTubing. Where I was supposed to be at that time was I should have been starting PhD studies to become an English professor. I studied English in my undergrad, and language, and if you look at my lore video, books and reading and all of that are really, really important to me, really dear to me. And something that one of my students at an after-school program said to me once was like, "Hey, Miss Phoebe, like, now that I think about it, if more people read books, then I think the world would be a kinder place." And I was like, "Oh my God, you're like 13 years old? Wow, you're a big brain." I think she's totally right. So even though I'm not going out and studying for my PhD, I feel like I'm still implementing a lot of the same things that I learned in school, whether it pertains to the humanities or English, or whether it pertains to like teaching techniques and stuff. I think it's all helped me to become a better communicator and entertainer too. Like I feel like I'm able to connect with my chat so well and like have these really genuine conversations with them because of everything that I've studied in English. And it also helps me with stuff like marketing and my like copywriting stuff and making assets. But like most of all, it helps with connecting with the community. And so I feel like I haven't left it behind entirely. And
Just
that
repurposed it.
GameCon panel. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was saying, adding on to, you haven't left it behind, you've just repurposed it.
Yeah, just repurposed it precisely. And I do kind of get to do some of the same writing and research things that I used to really enjoy doing, like for the panels that I've been running at cons. For a couple of months it was just performances. Now I'm starting to do panels. And for those I have to do research, I have to make sure to cite my sources, I have to present my information in a coherent way that's also entertaining, and all of that stuff that I learned from university all comes into play, especially for those convention panels and stuff. So yeah, it's definitely still there.
And is the panel, so it's a concert for SaskCon and a panel for Icon. Is the Icon panel tomorrow going to be one of these more academic ones for you, or is it going to tend toward more of the, I suppose, Q&A or more entertaining type?
To be honest, I have no idea what we're going to be presenting for the Icon one. I'm assuming that Reg put together something for it, but I have not heard what it is or what my part in it will be. So I'm gonna basically be improvising there. I'm gonna basically be improvising there tomorrow. If there's a PowerPoint, great. But I think it's gonna be more of a discussion-based kind of thing.
Hey, sometimes you just do it live.
Yeah, sometimes you just do it live, exactly.
So a couple of questions that I like to ask all my guests. These are just some rapid-fire ones that I find are, mildly telling about a person, but also just sort of interesting. What is your favorite meal? So price is not an issue. You can source the ingredients from wherever you want. What is not necessarily the meal you would want to eat every day, but if you were to point to something and say, like, I want to have something that just makes me so happy and is my favorite meal, what is that meal? What's the dish, and is there a particular drink or sides that go with it?
Oh man. Let me think about this. Well, okay, so I was thinking about a couple different things. I was thinking of sushi. I was thinking of roast beef stuff.
Ooh, roast beef is underappreciated for sure.
Because I do know a really good, no, not roast beef, but like what's it called? Prime rib. Yeah, I was thinking of prime rib because I know a really good prime rib
Prime
restaurant.
rib isn't necessarily underappreciated, but it's appreciated with good reason.
Yes, exactly. But I think when it comes down to it, there is a pot roast that my grandma makes really, really well. And she, I grew up with Filipino food and stuff, but she started making this pot roast for me a couple months ago. I had to live with her for a little bit after COVID hit because I could no longer pay for my apartment. and she learned this pot roast recipe from me, and it's delicious and it's hearty, and it makes me happy and it reminds me of her. So I think that pot roast, which has really good sauce and carrots and potatoes and all sorts of things inside of it.
I just realized this was a terrible question to ask you after you told me that you haven't had dinner yet.
Oh God! Well, now that you mention it, now I'm getting hungry. Now I'm getting hungry. I wasn't. Let's just say that is my favorite meal. That is, I would say that.
Sounds wonderful, and just the fact that it has that personal significance makes it even better.
It's probably because of that. It's probably because it's from my grandma.
Do you drink tea or coffee or both? And if so, how do you take them? I do. Okay, so for a long time, I avoided coffee like the plague because my mom said that it would stunt my growth, but I still ended up at like under 5 feet. Oh no!
So it didn't make a difference. It didn't make a difference. I was like, I'm gonna get tall if I don't drink coffee, and then I didn't. So, I drink coffee when it's absolutely necessary, and I need to have all the sugar and all the cream in it in order to be able to consume it. But so I mostly drink tea. And as a singer, I pretty much just drink one kind of tea, and it's called throat coat. It's supposed to be good for your throat. And I drink it with lots and lots of honey. One, because it's good for your throat, and two, because I just really like honey.
Yeah, actually, so that brings us back to singing. So is throat coat sort of your go-to remedy? That I know for myself, I use this little spray thing called Vocalize, which actually itself is also honey flavored, and basically you just spritz a little bit into the back of your throat, tastes like honey, and just helps your vocal cords. But there's I have a lot of friends who swear by syrup called nimjam, and I've just heard of a lot of different ones. So is throat coat your go-to for vocal maintenance, as it were?
Yeah, throat coat is my go-to. There are these Chinese medicinal candies that I used to take a lot of when I had live performances, but I don't know where those went. I've moved houses a couple of times since then because of COVID. So really, throat coat is all I have right now. But I have heard of Vocalize, and I've been wondering if it's good. You swear by it?
Yeah, I found it pretty good. That it's not something that I use every day. That obviously I don't use my voice on a daily professional basis, but it's the type of thing that I'm probably going to use that tonight after this show, and just whenever I find myself talking for a while, or like when I would work cons, I would have that to help maintain my voice. I also actually just ordered a thing of nimjam, which will probably be arriving sometime next week, because I was going to try that out as well, since I wanted to, figure out a couple different ones. But for me, Vocalize has been it is the first one that I've tried, but it has done the job. So I definitely recommend at least trying, and it's relatively cheap. It's like $15 a bottle for like 50 or 100 sprays of the stuff. So not terribly expensive, and I found it pretty good.
Well, I will definitely check it out. Let me know how you like the Mimjom.
Yeah, it's like NIMJOM, I believe.
Interesting. Let me know how that goes too.
Will do. What is something that people don't know about you? That if someone has been to all of your streams, all your performances, what is something about yourself? And it can be something very, very small. It can be a detail that the only reason that nobody knows it is because it's so simple and insignificant that it's never come up. But is there something small that you can share with us that no matter who's in the audience will have new information walking away today?
Yeah. I'd say... Now, the hard part is choosing. But something that people might not know about me is that let's see. Okay, let's get back to this one, because I'm still trying to decide which one to do.
Well, so moving on then, what are your goals for 2021? That obviously you have the EP release, and you have getting partner on Twitch. you have any other particular goals that you have set for yourself?
So my goals for 2021, as you guys probably know, I am working on that new EP that is slated to release in late April called Chill Beats to Buzz To. I want that to
I
be
love that title.
the most banger. Oh,
I
what was that?
love that title.
Thank you. I didn't know if it was too silly or not, but I went with it, and I'm really happy that I did. I want that to be like even better than the EP that I released last year, and I was really proud of that one. I want to make this one as good as I can, and I want it to reach as many people as possible. So I'm hoping that like by releasing an MV with the EP. Last time my music video for Whimsyland, for example, released five months after the EP came out last year. But this time I will have a music video to go along with the release, so I really hope that it'll be able to reach a lot of people that way, and then people will enjoy it. In addition to that, I want to get more professional work. I am currently on I'm providing vocals for 2 different game projects right now, possibly a third. But I really would like to, just be able to establish all this entertainment stuff that I'm doing right now as my, like, I can say, like, this is my career and I'm stable in it. I want to get closer to that. I want to reach partner. I want to reach partner on Twitch. And that I will start working at next week. So those are a couple of goals. By the way, I did figure out what I want to say.
Oh.
Or something people do not know about me.
All right.
When I was little, I did want to be a singer, but before that, I actually wanted to be a botanist. I wanted to be a flower scientist.
Oh wow.
Because I liked flowers, and I was like, I guess the closest thing to working with flowers would be to be like a flower scientist. I didn't think of being a florist or anything. I was like, I'm gonna be a botanist. So
well, that is working more than from a scientific aspect, but I suppose you still have your tangential connection to bees here.
Yeah, somehow. It's always been about like flowers and bees and just that kind of aesthetic for me. Bees are very dear to me. They're very dear to me. Oh, thank you, Eye of Entropy. Thank you very much. I'm glad that you discovered it.
So botanist. Wow, that's a cool one.
Yeah, right? Like, I don't know why I ended up not going into it, but I'm glad where I am. I'm happy for where I am, and I'm happy that I studied English too.
What does being a VTuber mean to you? And that's not to say what is the definition of a VTuber. That is, what for you, Phoebe, what does it mean to be a VTuber?
So it's very similar to what being an idol meant to me, but even more so. So back when people asked me, what does it mean to, what does being an idol mean to you? Because I was doing a lot of idol stuff before VTubing. I'd be like, it's making people smile through my music. But even more than that, like being a VTuber is bringing people together, helping them make genuine connections with one another, and also me making genuine connections with my community. And, like a lot of people see VTubers as escapism. And in a way, that's true. In a way, my stream is escaping. I like to think of it as like a safe escape, but also it's not like blocking out the realities of life. For me, it's like you have to deal with real life stuff, but I'm here for you while you have to deal with that real life stuff. I'm here as a companion, as somebody to remind you that you are perfect the way that you are, and well, not perfect, but you're very, very valid and worthy of love the way that you are. And if you can't remember that, I'm here to remind you of that. So yeah, even more than when I was an idol, being a VTuber is connecting people. Yeah. That's what it is to me.
I definitely think that connection, I think, is a really good word, and it's something that unfortunately a traditional idol, both due to idol culture and, usually production company restraints, but also just by virtue of the venues that they perform in, that connection is not really possible, that you're performing for a large crowd and you don't have that avenue of communication. You might be able to do, one-on-one meet and greets, but you're not going to see somebody on the regular, most likely, whereas you've called out multiple people in the chat tonight because even if you don't know them in real life, that you've created a more tangible connection to them just via your community, and that's something that VTubers have that the traditional idol does not.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's very liberating being able to do that.
Yeah. So we have FUWATOPIA, we have SHIRAYURI Productions, we have your EP, so it was Chill Beats to Buzz To, or am I messing that up? Okay, Chill Beats to Buzz To.
No, you got it.
We have hopefully some Pokemon streams. We have 2 convention performances, well, 2 convention appearances tomorrow, 1 performance for SaskCon at 6 p.m. Pacific time, and then the panel at Icon at 7:15 Pacific time. Are there any other projects or collaborations that you want to make sure we spotlight?
Well, you got most of it, but I guess, I'm very, very excited to share with everybody that EP that's coming out this April. But if you want something to listen to in the meantime, I did release my debut EP, Moon Garden, last year. That is on, that's available on my Bandcamp. It's also available on Spotify. If you look up Moon Garden and just Phoebe, it's just Phoebe. Then you can find that on there. I'm working right now on consolidating all my music on YouTube because it was like randomly, those randomly generated channels? Yeah, it's like not on my channel even though I'm a YouTube partner. So I am working on that. But right now it's available on Bandcamp and Spotify and iTunes and all of that for sure. So if you'd like to check that out, that's something that you can listen to in the meantime to get kind of a preview of my music, though it's going to be a very different style from Chill Beats.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to it. We played Desu, which was from your first EP earlier this evening during the pre-show. I'm definitely looking forward to hearing Chill Beats. And Phoebe, I just cannot thank you enough for being here tonight. This has been so much fun.
I'm so glad you don't mind at all that it went a little long.
Oh, certainly not. No, like I said, I'm not the one who had another thing earlier today and who has 2 convention appearances tomorrow. I'm glad to have been able to have your time and that I'm, not wearing you out too much. I hope that you've enjoyed yourself and seriously, this has been just delightful.
Yeah, this was an absolute joy for me. You were so fun to talk to, and I think that Phoebe hustling at the moment. I'm doing my best, Hoshi. I'm doing my best. But yeah, you were so fun. This is lovely. I cannot wait to watch more VTuber Talk, and you're just keep doing what you're doing. I support you wholeheartedly, and thank you again very much for having me on VTuber Talk.
Well, thank you. Like I said, it has been a total honor. I hope to continue following your stuff, and you'll definitely see me in your chats. I don't know if I'll have time to see everything tomorrow, but if you haven't already, please follow Phoebe on Twitch and on Twitter. Thank you all so much for joining us this evening. This has been VTuber Talk. She's Phoebe, I'm Jay. Thank you. And everybody have a great night, have a great day. Take it easy, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.